Okay, so let's unpack this. We're doing a deep dive today into Deuteronomy chapter 7.
Right, chapter 7. And it really comes at, well, a pivotal moment for the people addressed in the text. They're right on the cusp, of entering this promised land. And this chapter lays out some really significant instructions. And crucially, the reasons behind them. It's sort of
Yes.
defining the terms.
The terms of engagement almost.
Exactly. The relationship with the Lord and the relationship with the people already living there.
Right. So our aim here is really to get to grips with those core commands, understand the reasons the text itself gives for them, and, what this chapter tells us about the specific kind of relationship being described.
So the scene is set pretty quickly. The Lord is bringing you, the people, into this land, but it's not empty. Far from it.
No, and it's very clear about who's there. It lists them out, doesn't it? 7 nations, and describes them as larger and stronger than you. That's quite the setup.
It is. It names them. Hittites, Girgashites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. It really emphasizes the challenge ahead.
Okay, so the Lord delivers these nations over. What's the first command?
Well, it's pretty stark.
Destroy them totally. That hits hard. Very absolute.
It does. And the text immediately follows up, clarifying what that means. Make no treaty with them and show them no mercy. So it's about complete separation. No alliances, no leniency.
And flowing from that separation, there's another key instruction, right? About integration.
Yes. Specifically preventing assimilation through marriage. Do not intermarry with them.
And it spells it out very clearly.
Very. Not giving your daughters to their sons, nor taking their daughters for your sons. It draws a really firm line.
And the text gives a reason, a very explicit one. It's not left ambiguous.
No, it states it directly. For they will turn your sons away from following me to serve other gods. And the consequence. And the Lord's anger will burn against you and will quickly destroy you.
So, in the logic of the text, intermarriage isn't just a social thing. It's seen as a direct threat to their core identity and loyalty to the Lord.
Precisely. Leading to dire consequences.
And following that logic, it also targets the religious practices of these nations.
Absolutely. The physical objects associated with their worship. The command is to break down their altars, smash their sacred stones, cut down their Asher poles, and burn their idols in the fire.
Asherah poles, those were connected with local deities. Fertility worship.
Often associated with that, yes.
Yeah.
The command is for a complete purge of anything representing the worship of other gods, to remove any potential snare, as the text calls it later. So we've got these really intense commands about what to do, but then the chapter pivots. It turns to the why. Why these people? Why these instructions for them?
Okay, this is the foundation.
Exactly. And the text says, for you are a people holy to the Lord your God.
Holy. Let's unpack that a bit. Set apart.
Set apart for the Lord. Distinct. Chosen for a specific purpose and relationship with him. And it continues, the Lord your God has chosen you out of all the peoples on the face of the earth to be his people, his treasured possession.
His treasured possession. That's powerful language.
It is. And this idea of being chosen is absolutely central to understanding the chapter.
But then it addresses a potential misconception, doesn't it? That maybe they were chosen for being, the best or biggest.
It tackles that head on. It explicitly says, the Lord did not set his affection on you and choose you because you were more numerous.
So not because they were a superpower.
Quite the opposite, actually.
Yeah.
For you were the fewest of all peoples.
Fewest. Wow. So their chosenness isn't based on their own strength or numbers at all.
Not according to the text. The reasons given are rooted entirely in the Lord's character and actions. Reason 1, it was because the Lord loved you. Reason 2, and kept the oath he swore to your forefathers. This points back to promises made generations before, like to Abraham.
Right, the covenant promise.
And this isn't just abstract, it's demonstrated by a concrete act. The Exodus. He brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you from the land of slavery, from the power of Pharaoh, king of Egypt.
So the basis is God's love, God's faithfulness to his word, and his act of rescue, not their own merit.
And flowing from that, the text describes God's nature.
Yeah, it says, know therefore that the Lord your God is God. He is the faithful God.
Faithful. And that faithfulness is shown how? By keeping his covenant of love to 1,000 generations of those who love him and keep his commands. That's a huge scope for blessing tied to loyalty.
Okay, but there's always the other side in Deuteronomy, isn't there? What about those who don't love him, who actively oppose him? The text uses the word hate.
Yes, and the text is equally clear about the outcome for them. But those who hate him, He will repay to their face by destruction.
Mm-hmm.
And it adds, he will not be slow to repay to their face those who hate him. There's an immediacy, a certainty described there.
So you have this picture. God is faithful. He blesses loyalty across generations, but he directly confronts opposition. And the conclusion from that description is,
A direct command. Therefore, take care to follow the commands, decrees, and laws I give you today. It connects God's character directly to the need for obedience.
okay, so obedience is key. And the text then goes on to list the positive results, the blessings for following these laws.
It does, yeah. It paints a picture of flourishing. If they pay attention and follow the laws, the Lord keeps that covenant of love. He will love you and bless you and increase your numbers. It's about life and growth.
And it gets really specific, really tangible. Blessings on family, on livelihood.
Exactly. Bless the fruit of your womb, so children, the crops of your land, your grain, new wine and oil, agricultural abundance.
The calves of your herds and the lambs of your flocks. Prosperity and their livestock, too. It covers the key aspects of their ancient economy.
And it adds more promises directly about the people. You will be blessed more than any other people. None of your men or women will be childless, nor any of your livestock without young. So, an absence of barrenness, which was a major concern.
And health, too. That's mentioned.
A big one. Keep you free from every disease.
And that's explicitly contrasted with their experience in Egypt, right?
Yes, very directly. He will not inflict on you the horrible diseases you knew in Egypt, but he will inflict them on all who hate you. So health and disease are framed within this covenant relationship, linked to loyalty and opposition.
It's a very clear cause and effect being presented. Blessings for obedience, curses, including disease, for disobedience or opposition.
That's the framework presented here, and it immediately circles back to the command about the inhabitants of the land. You must destroy all the peoples the Lord your God gives over to you.
And a warning about feelings.
Yes, do not look on them with pity. And again, the reason. And do not serve their gods, for that will be a snare to you. Pity could lead to compromise, which could lead to serving other gods the snare.
Now, the text does something really interesting here. It anticipates their fear.
It does. It voices what they might be thinking.
You may say to yourselves, these nations are stronger than we are. How can we drive them out? That seems like a very reasonable question.
Absolutely. Acknowledging the human reality of the situation. But the answer given isn't about boosting their self-confidence. It points them back.
Back to Egypt.
Exactly. But do not be afraid of them. Remember well what the Lord your God did to Pharaoh and to all Egypt. Memory as the antidote to fear.
And it specifies what to remember: the great trials, the miraculous signs and wonders, the mighty hand and outstretched arm, all symbols of God's power in action.
Yes, and the explicit promise. The Lord your God will do the same to all the peoples you now fear. Past deliverance becomes the guarantee of future victory.
So the assurance isn't in their strength, but in God repeating his past actions for them.
Precisely. And it even gives some details about how God will help, sending the hornet, maybe meaning panic or chaos.
Could be. And driving them out little by little.
Yes, and it gives a practical reason for that gradual pace. Or the wild animals will multiply around you if the land is emptied too quickly.
That's a fascinating sort of ecological consideration almost.
It is, and it promises God will throw the nations into great confusion until they are destroyed. Divine intervention leading to their defeat.
So the overall picture is guaranteed success, but it's God's success enacted through them.
That's the message. God giving their kings into their hand, wiping out their names. No one will be able to stand up against you. You will destroy them. It's an assurance of total victory through divine power.
Okay, so after dealing with the people and the promise of victory, the chapter circles back one last time to the idols.
It does, with a very specific warning about the materials they're made from. The images of their gods you are to burn in the fire. We heard that before.
But then it adds something about temptation.
Yes, the temptation of wealth. Do not covet the silver and gold on them, and do not take it for yourselves.
Why not? It's just metal, right?
Not in this context. The text says, or you will be ensnared by it, for it is detestable to the Lord your God. That word again, detestable. Utterly offensive, something intrinsically linked to the forbidden worship.
So taking the gold is like taking the idolatry itself.
That seems to be the idea. It's contaminated by its association. And the final warning is severe. Do not bring a detestable thing into your house, or you, like it, will be set apart for destruction.
Wow, so bringing the object into your home means you share its fate.
That's the warning. Utterly abhor and detest it, for it is set apart for destruction. It underlines the absolute separation required, even from the material remnants of idol worship, because they, too, are a potential snare.
Okay, that chapter, Deuteronomy 7, really does pack a punch. We've covered a lot ground here. Those commands about the nations, destroying them, not intermarrying, destroying their religious sites.
And the clear reasons given, protecting their unique identity, preventing the worship of other gods.
Then the foundation for it all. God's choice, based not on their greatness, but on his love and his promise to their ancestors, demonstrated by the Exodus.
Right. And that clear link between obedience bringing blessings like fertility, prosperity, health, and disobedience or opposition bringing consequences.
Plus the reassurance against fear, promising God's help, recalling Egypt.
And finally, that stark warning about the idols, even down to the gold and silver on them. Don't touch it, don't bring it home.
Yeah. It really helps, I think, to understand the text's internal logic here. That strong emphasis on separation, on exclusive loyalty within this specific covenant.
It does. It lays out the terms, the stakes, and the reasons given for these commands, which, let's be honest, can sound very harsh to modern ears. It shows why the text frames things in such stark terms of loyalty and consequence.
So here's something maybe to chew on as you think about this chapter later. Given that the text grounds God's choice purely in his love and his faithfulness to an old promise, how does that sit alongside the command for the total destruction of other peoples living in the land? What does that contrast tell us, according to text itself, about the nature of this specific covenant relationship being described? And how might that intense described connection obedience leads to blessing, disobedience leads to curse? How might that have actually shaped the people's identity, their mindset, their actions as they stood facing those larger and stronger nations? Worth pondering.